Have you ever wished for a female expert to discuss with you one-on-one the power of fasting or intermittent fasting, eating to lose weight, or just plain old aging gracefully? Well, today is your day on this episode of The Bravehearted Woman. Hey everybody, this is Dawn Damon, and this is my show, The Bravehearted Woman. Thanks for stopping by. Hey, each week I bring important topics for women just like you to help you live with courage and confidence and bold vision for your future. So make sure you subscribe so you never miss an episode. I'm always giving out free resources that empower you. So you ready? Come on, let's get brave. All right, beautiful brave hearts, wonderful to see you as always. Now, today, my guest is a visionary at the forefront of the intersection between nutrition, healthcare, and education. With a robust background in health science and a Master of Science degree, my guest has become a trailblazer in promoting health and wellness through the innovative nutritional approaches. I can't wait to talk about that. She is currently serving as the Director of Education and Healthcare Sales at Prolon. And my guest plays a pivotal role in shaping the education and the sales strategy of the organization. And with a deep understanding of nutritional science, coupled with her commitment to evidence based practices, she is seen as a trusted authority. Please welcome to the Bravehearted Woman, my guest today, Renee Fitton. Hey, Renee.
Hello, hello. Thank you so much for having me. It is such a pleasure to be here. And I really hope that in today's chat, we can just really uncover a lot of myths when it comes to nutrition, especially in middle age, and some new tools that can really help us thrive.
I'm looking forward to that because I know this is going to be a big surprise to everybody, but I actually am mid-age. And so I'm always looking forward to that. I don't believe that we have to gain weight, that we have to have all of these things forever, but we certainly start in that transition where our bodies feel differently, our hormones feel differently. Does fasting work? Does it not work? And really, a woman going through this transition, well, we call it the change of life because it really is. So, yeah, I'm eager to unpack that too. So, tell me a little bit about yourself and how did you get involved in this area?
Absolutely. Well, I mean, it starts a long time ago when I thought I wanted to be a medical practitioner, more, the standard doctor that you see in an emergency room is what I had seen for myself. And I decided to go on a medical mission. And I went to South Africa, I went to Nicaragua. And every time we went out there, we put on big backpacks of medication and lots of it. And as we got out there, we would see people that didn't really have a lot of access to these things. And never once did we mention lifestyle changes and nutrition changes and ways that they could improve their health without all of these backpacks of medication. And I thought to myself, there's got to be a better way. And so I get back and I start looking into all of these lifestyle changes, and nutrition really hit home for me. So fast forward a little while, I get my master's degree at USC, where Dr. Walter Longo actually founded the program. And Dr. Walter Longo is an incredible leader in longevity research and healthy aging. And has done decades of research in this space and is actually now recognized as, by Times as one of the top health impact leaders in the world today. So very, very grateful for having learned there. And from that, really just took off in trying to sink my teeth into every strategy that was available out there to really support healthy aging. And more importantly, help us live healthier longer, not just live longer.
Yes, thank you for saying that because you know what? That's exactly true. I do hear that we're living longer and that we have the medical science now to keep the physical body alive, but I don't want to stay alive for a long time if I'm not healthy. And so you're kind of talking about the intersection here between nutrition and a healthy life. Tell us, what did you discover in that process about nutrition?
Oh my gosh. I mean, the world of nutrition is immense. So, just with this question, we could talk for
I
hours and
know.
hours and hours. But I think what I really want to touch on today is one of the, in my opinion, easiest, fastest ways to make a really impactful change. And that is fasting and fasting mimicking. And this is a strategy that you can incorporate into your year plan just a few times a year, just a handful of days each time, that makes a huge impact in our health and longevity. So that's probably the major one I want to touch on today. But I mean, there are so many things that we can do and across the spectrum of lifestyle change that can impact our health and longevity.
Yes, so you've piqued our interest. So let's talk about that. You're calling it a fasting mimicking diet, so to speak. Fasting mimicking diet. What is that exactly?
So, fasting mimicking diets are a way to get all of the incredible benefits of fasting, of which there are many, and we can touch on that too. But I think now in today's world where we hear about fasting all of the time, we kind of start to get the hint fasting could be quite good for us. And it's because it's tapping into this evolutionary benefit. We didn't always have food around. Our bodies actually had to learn to thrive during periods when there wasn't food. And so they did. And so we really want to tap into that. How can we get all of these incredible benefits of water only fasting without actually having to do water only fasting, which can have safety issues? It can have, do we want to? Do we really feel like going with only water for several days?
Do we
And
have the discipline to do that with it?
exactly. So, what is the solution here? And with decades of research, Dr. Walter Longo and teams of researchers across the globe, now we're talking 18 prestigious universities, there's now been over 30 clinical trials, have started to uncover how we can do this with food. And that's what the fasting mimicking diet is. It's the ability to get the benefits of water only fasting, but with food, and you can do it in 5 days.
Oh, so you have to give us a little bit of the how-to. I'm sure that we can figure out or find from you more information on it, but what would a day of the fasting mimicking diet look like?
Okay, so a company called Prolon, one of which that I work with, so I have to give that little signal there, but it's actually quite simple. And in fact, a company by the name of Prolon that I work for has made it even easier than ever in that they have created a program that gives you everything you need for the 5 days. So every single day comes with a box with your breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, everything included. What does that look like? Well, the morning usually starts with a nut-based bar. And then from there, you get soups for lunch and dinner. You get snacks like olives and crackers. And even at the end of the day, you get a little Choco Crisp. So, I mean, it is a full days of meals and it is completely seamless. You don't have to think about anything. You don't have to cook anything. You don't have to buy anything else. So, really makes it easy to follow the program without thinking about anything else.
Beautiful. And so some of those things that those benefits that we get from fasting, could you name a few of those benefits? Because maybe some don't recognize that is an important thing for us to be doing.
Absolutely. I think for me, there are six major pieces that I like to consider. And the first one being cellular rejuvenation. So, cellular rejuvenation is the ability for our cells to actually clean themselves out from the inside, like an internal doctor or an internal vacuum cleaner, and getting rid of all of this junk that accumulates over time. And it's bound to happen as we get older and as we age. Our cells just start to accumulate some stuff that no longer works as well and just needs to be flushed out. And if we don't take the time to do that cleanup, then it will just accumulate and it makes it a lot harder for our cells to function the way that they were designed to. And so the only way that our bodies have the ability to really turn on this cleanup crew is through a process called autophagy, which is essentially the cellular cleanup. And this is only turned on when we fast for at least 3 days. So now this really starts to bring up the importance of these longer term fasts. So even these daily fasts aren't going to necessarily get you there. So this cellular cleanup and this deep cellular cleanup that we only see with prolonged fasts is one of those important things. That one's a little bit, I think, tougher to get a hold of in terms of a grasp for most people, but one that I think everybody can appreciate is weight loss. but not just any weight loss. It is weight loss with muscle protection. Now, especially as we age, muscle is critical.
Yes.
And unfortunately, a lot of diets out there right now are tapping into our muscle stores. So when we look for nutrition solutions, we have to find ones that are protecting our muscle. And that is very feasible with prolonged fasting as well. So that has been shown time and time again. And then not to mention that the weight loss that we're seeing, it's in the right places. It's in our trunk fat, which is our belly fat, the type of fat that is the most dangerous and usually the ones that we're really hoping to get rid of too.
That visceral
And
fat there.
yes, and then the visceral fat, that's the stuff around your organs, and that's really the most dangerous stuff. So both of those are being tapped into more specifically with fasting than especially other programs out there. So weight loss, cellular cleanup, now longevity, biological age. This is the age of our cells as opposed to just the age on our birth certificate. We want to try and hack that age on our birth certificate and actually have our cells and our body behave younger than that. And it's possible. So we've actually done studies with fasting mimicking diets that have shown that just 3 5-day cycles done over a 3-month period reduced your biological age by 2.5 years. Yeah.
Huh.
So
Who doesn't want that? That's critical.
yeah. So, I mean, when we talk about longevity, I mean, this is what we're talking about. We're talking about being able to be younger than our age. And when we look at fasting, it is really one of the most incredible ways to do that. Now, another, of course, important thing to consider is our metabolic health. And as we get older, our metabolic health tends to deteriorate. And so when I talk about metabolic health, I'm talking about our cholesterol numbers, our triglycerides, our blood pressure, all of those things that the doctor is checking. And fasting taps into all of that too. And we have tons of studies on how fasting impacts our metabolic health. And then I also want to touch on skin health. A recent study just came out showing that the fasting mimicking diet, just 5 days, so that's a single round, has improved your skin health, hydration, texture, in just 5 days. And even fine lines, actually, that was another one. And fine lines, I think we're all looking to swipe away. And if you can do a little bit in 5 days, I think that is something we want to hold on to.
Those are incredible benefits. I mean, I can't imagine that anyone would deny the fact that having some of those benefits from fasting would be so powerful for our lives, especially that's, when we would talk about aging, if we're sloughing off those cells that are no longer useful to us, we're revitalizing, we're losing weight, we're turning the clock back, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Now, for women, we talked about menopause at the top. And so, how does fasting specifically help women? Is there a difference between the benefits for men and women?
Absolutely. And I'm a big proponent of personalized nutrition and making sure that we consider our differences. And gender is one of those differences. So we absolutely need to tap into that. And then our age and where we are at in our spectrum of aging absolutely taps into that. So, yes, there are unique considerations for women who are entering menopause or in menopause. And some of these considerations include that as we transition into menopause, we also start seeing decreases and declines in our insulin sensitivity. So this is our ability to manage blood sugar and ability to avoid type 2 diabetes. And unfortunately, that's going to get harder as we transition into this phase of life. And so with fasting, we can tap into that. We can tackle that. We can improve insulin sensitivity. And this, again, has been shown time and time again. And so, especially in this period of life where we start having some of these challenges, this can be especially helpful. Not to mention, we oftentimes see weight start to creep up. It can be caused by a number of reasons, the changes of hormones that are happening during this time, including the changes in insulin sensitivity. And all of these things are really starting to pile in all at once, which we can use fasting to tap into so many of these different things all at once. We're really able to start pushing back against the weight gain, pushing back against those changes in insulin sensitivity and those metabolic changes that are happening.
That's really, really interesting. So, You mentioned again that you are with a company called Prolon. Now, is this something that you guys have put together for anyone that wants to go? How do they get the products? How do women find out more about this if they say, hey, you know what? I want to do that 5-day fast?
Absolutely. And I would urge anybody to go investigate it and do your own research. Go to prolonlife.com and just go explore. We keep all of our science there. I mentioned those 30 plus clinical trials. It's worth taking a peek. And our team has done our job to also make some blogs and some information so that if you don't feel like reading all of the paper, you can go read the blogs. They're way more interesting and fun to read. So I would just absolutely urge anyone to go take a peek. And you can also find the 5-day program there. Not to mention, we also have other products there that could be great for women entering menopause or in menopause, including our new L protein, a first of its kind protein beverage that supports muscle maintenance while also supporting healthy aging. Nothing of its kind has been created today. And especially with a lot of talk around protein today, I think it is an incredible product that any woman going through and entering menopause or in menopause today should be getting their hands on.
Yeah, I like that you said that because protein is really important. Earlier, you mentioned that there's a lot of diets out there and we want to lose weight. Many women are like, this is my goal. But if we don't do it correctly, we're not losing the right kind of fat, as you mentioned. We're losing muscle. What's the danger of a midlife woman losing muscle?
I mean, our muscles are so much more than just there to make us look big and buff. They also are associated with our immunity, with our flexibility. All of these things that may not seem obvious at first are actually quite tied to our muscular health. Now, I think a very important thing to keep in mind is that our muscle is a very metabolically active tissue. Now, what that means is it uses a lot of energy. And so it actually helps us use a lot of the calories that we consume, and it needs a lot of those calories. So when we lose that muscle and we don't have it anymore, we actually don't use as many of the calories that we consume, and that can then be transitioned into fat. And so when we lose muscle, we also are more likely to gain weight, and not the kind that we want. It's going to be that fat storage. And so that is really, really critical to consider when we look at the difference between muscle and the rest of our tissues.
Yes. And so that spring back, I'm losing weight, but I gain it all back. And actually, I'm gaining more fat because I've lost some muscle. So I tell my audience, my brave-hearted women all the time, continue to move your body, continue to have that weight resistance, build that muscle. And if you're able to, have what 70 to 90 ounces of protein a day. That's a lot of protein, but our bodies are calling for that when we get into this place of menopause. What say you? Am I close?
I think you're definitely hitting the nail on the head there. We recommend about 0.8 grams per kilogram, which is kind of the basic recommendation. Some people will need more, and as we age, we do need more. So these are all things to keep in mind as we strategize our nutrition. So everybody should work with a nutrition professional or a medical professional that looks at your nutrition, very important, to make those specific recommendations, because maybe you're super athletic, you might need more. As we get to the age of 60, 65, we do need more. We need to bump that up even more. So all of these things adjust those recommendations. So that personalization is key, and making sure that we're getting enough, but also not too much and of the right kinds. I mean, there's just so many questions to keep in mind there. So I would just say, get that personalized guidance. Make sure you're getting enough, not too much, because too much also can be problematic. It can lead to excessive growth, and excessive growth can lead to increased risk of cancer and things like that. So, we really do want to find ourselves in this really happy medium where we're getting enough, but not too much.
Yes, so good. Okay, so all of this information, and somebody listening might say, so this is why I get so confused because, okay, where do I start? What do I do? What's my baby step?
Yeah.
Because we are in a day and age where we do have information overload. And sometimes, like, just break it down and give me 1 step, 2 step, 3 step. What would you recommend for someone listening? What's the first step?
So I would say, I mean, for me, doing a 5-day fasting mimicking program, I mean, I think anybody can say, I've got 5 days to give. And when I think about one thing that I can do to make a change, I want that change to be significant. So, there's a lot of things that you can change, but there's not a lot of things that you can change that are going to have a really quick impact and a significant impact right away. And that's what I think a 5-day fasting mimicking program can do. And the beauty is, you only have to do it 3 times a year.
Mm.
And so we're doing this every 4 months or so. I think that's super manageable. And if that's going to improve our biological age, it's going to improve our metabolic health, it's going to improve our cellular health, it's going to improve our weight, it's going to protect our muscle. I mean, I don't even think I have enough fingers to count all of the things that this program can do. This to me is the easiest solution. Plus, Prolon packages it up in an easy to go box. You don't really have to do much more thinking than that. I don't think it gets much easier than that. So, in short, that's my answer.
And I'm all about that. I need fast, I need convenient, and I need it to be effective. And so, you sold me. I'm going to try it. But before we go, if somebody says, yeah, okay, all right, you've given me my first step. That's good. Hey, Bravehearts, how about we do a 5-day fasting challenge together? That would be awesome. DM me and we'll look into that. But what's the prep for that? And I'm sure that it's all explained, but would you go on a retreat to do that? Would you make it like, I'll just do body, soul, and spirit, get my journal, be with God, fast? Or do you go, you know what? No, just keep going with your life?
That's a great question. So the program was specifically designed to not require all of this prep work. There are fasting, water only fasting programs where you have to go to a retreat and they have to be there with you because they got to coach you through that and they got to make sure you're doing it safely. But
Right.
once we start adding food to our fasting programs, we take a lot of that risk away and we take a lot of the need to do all of this prep work out of the equation. So it does make it a lot easier. Now, that being said, do I recommend that people go in just completely headstrong right away? No, I would say take at least 24 hours to just get ready to dive into this fast. Don't resist the urge to have all the food in sight the day before your fast. Sometimes you're like, okay, I'm going to fast tomorrow and I'm going to be fasting for 5 days. So I'm just going to make sure I get as much food now as I can. And that can actually make it harder come day one. So just making sure that you transition and you ease into it is really a valuable tool to making it a great fast. Now, another thing is, and I love that you brought up the group fast idea, have somebody to do it with. Just prepare with a friend, prepare with a group, even just being in WhatsApp with somebody else who's doing it or on whatever with somebody who's doing it with you will make it so much better. And then last but not least is stay busy. So a lot of people think, oh, I'm going to be fasting. I'm going to be exhausted. I'm not going to do anything else. I would urge you to plan a busy work week. Make sure you got lots of stuff going on. If you've been holding off on spring cleaning and getting out, cleaning out your junk drawers, this is the time to do it. Do it all, whatever it might be, to just keep yourself distracted. Because if you're going to be sitting on the couch, then you are inevitably going to be thinking to yourself, man, maybe I should just go to the fridge and go grab that snack out of there. So
Sure.
just staying busy goes a very long way.
Wonderful. Thank you so very much. Listen, Bravehearts, you know that we talk a lot about embracing where we are, but not acquiescing. And we talk a lot about reinventing and living our best life and having that belief that God's greatness is still in store for us, that there's so much more for us to do, but we don't want to show up old and weak and decrepit. Isn't this a way that you can love yourself? Isn't this a way that you can invest in yourself, turn back the hands of the clock a little bit, but also love your body, nurture and nourish your body? Thank you so much, Renee, for being here. I appreciate it greatly. We love listening and learning all of these great things. So, where can people find more? How can they get a hold of this information? Where do they want to go?
Great question. And please do come find more information. Come check us out at prolonlife.com. We're also on Instagram at Prolon. You can also come connect with me on Instagram at Fitton Nutrition, and we will answer any and all questions that you might have there.
Wonderful. Thank you again. This has been just a joy. And I'll let you know how our fasting group goes.
Fantastic. Looking forward to it. I hope I see you there. I'll be in there too.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for being here today. This was a great, great program. Hey, if you love this today, make sure that you share it with someone. There are other women. Make your own group. I
Mhm.
challenge you, get your 5-day fast prepared and get ready to roll. This is Dawn Damon, your Braveheart mentor. I'm going to leave you like I always do. But first, don't forget, hop over to thebraveheartedwoman.com. There I have a free gift for you. Ignite your confidence and soar with self-esteem. It's my free ebook. I want you to have it. You got to have confidence while you get ready to do this 5-day fast.
You
All
do.
right, everybody. We're going to say this: find your brave and live your vision.